So I'm trying my absolute best here to focus on some pretty big projects that I've got cooking right now for Battlefield 6, as well as trying to step away from the more, let's say, reactionary content regarding this game. In all honesty, I'd rather be posting fun videos or videos that are helpful to you guys as players. You know, stuff like weapon reviews, guides, class builds, that sort of thing. Unfortunately, the announcement that Battlefield comms dropped today meant that the universe seems to have other plans for me, and especially after today's stream on the game, holy shit, I just need to get this one off my chest, guys. Today is likely going to get a bit passionate, for the lack of a better word here, so I apologize in advance for that, and the eagle-eyed of you will notice a fair few bot kills in today's gameplay in the background here. There's actually a reason for that, and it will all make sense pretty bloody soon. Anyway, what got us here today, why the video title, and why am I about to go off my absolute rocker? Basically, Battlefield comms dropped a brand new announcement this morning that stated, introducing casual breakthrough, following with as such. We understand that sometimes you want to jump into Battlefield, but without the intensity of a full PvP lobby. To create a more relaxed way to play while still earning progression and completing challenges, we're introducing Casual Breakthrough, and this new mode is now live in the main menu under the Multiplayer tab. And here's what you can expect from Casual Breakthrough. Smaller player teams, 16 real players, 8 per team, with 32 bot teammates/enemies, 16 per team. And beyond that, there'll be Career XP, Weapon XP, Battle Pass XP, and Challenge XP earnable through this mode. It'll be balanced, wherein which full XP will be gained from real player actions and reduced XP from bot actions, and the maps that are supported are Siege of Cairo and Empire State. The only things you cannot earn through Casual Breakthrough are dog tags and accolades and career stat updates. Now, my initial reaction came immediately after I woke up because, well, this is basically the first thing I saw this morning, and my initial view was mixed. I had this to say on Twitter essentially, I'll read it out for you guys. My biggest concern around this is splitting up the player base even more. Even in the OCE servers, matchmaking times are taking longer because the sheer amount of modes that are being thrown our way. There needs to come a point where you admit that you don't please everyone and stick to your core tenets and modes. I get that people enjoy PvE content, but I dare say that the better modern day Battlefield games didn't offer PvP and stuck to their guns, and they were better for it. At first, this wasn't necessarily the doom and gloom for me that I now think it is, but there was certainly this air of why? Why do we continue risking to split up the player base already, especially for regions that do see lower player counts? And it was one of those things where I also sort of sit there going, hang on, who is this for? Like, what are we doing? Why are we focusing on this? Anyway, it was really neither here nor there for me until I logged on today and I got to the main menu and I saw the current rotation of game modes and playlists that Battlefield 6 was displaying to players at the forefront. And this is what I saw. In the featured section, it's Battle Royale and Gauntlet, which makes sense. It's the brand new flagship game mode. Okay, understandable. Then there's Blackwell Fields Conquest, Strike Point, and the server browser. So now in the featured section, at the very top of the menus, there is no Conquest playlist, there is no Breakthrough, there is no Escalation, there is no Rush, aka the core tenant game modes of the Battlefield ecosystem. Why Blackwell Fields has a 24/7 playlist for so long has absolutely dumbfounded me. Regardless of the quality of the map and your thoughts on the quality of the map, the only reason that 24/7 playlist was so commonly requested in 2042 is because the entire map pool of that game was generally so trash that when the community did get something that was slightly better, then, well, they would want to play that 24/7 to avoid those crappy maps. In a game like Battlefield 6, where the map pool is at least as a whole a stronger package, we shouldn't have 24/7 official playlists in the featured section this early in the piece. Like, why do we have a 24/7 Blackwell Fields Conquest server when we're all still enjoying the existing maps that are out there already? Anyway, okay, that's the featured section, whatever. I'll just scroll down to the multiplayer section and check out what playlists are there. I finally scrolled down there, of which on page number 1, the following modes are displayed: Blackwell Fields Conquest, Strike Point, of course custom searches there too, but more on that in a second, and then none other than Casual Breakthrough, the mode they just announced. In order to get to all-out warfare for Conquest and Escalation and Attack and Defend for Russian Breakthrough, you need to move to page 2 of this section. And if you just want to load into Conquest or Breakthrough themselves, you need to go all the way to page 3. Escalation as a playlist on its own, and the new flagship mode that DICE added to Battlefield 6, a penultimate game mode that so many have now claimed to be their favorite, is no longer even in circulation as an official playlist of its own at all. So already 3 weeks into launch, ignoring all of the personalized opinions on, what maps are better and what game modes are better, you now need to scroll through multiple menus and through multiple slides on said menus to get to the core game modes that make up the traditional Battlefield package. So in the 3 to 4 weeks that this game has been out now, the matchmaking system that DICE are so keen on using over a traditional server browser has just become that more cumbersome to achieve what is basically meant to be the same outcome as a server browser. In order to load up straight up Conquest, Escalation, or Breakthrough playlists, you need to scroll through multiple menus and hope to God they're even there. And sure, the custom search functionality is there, but here's the thing, guys. I actually don't believe the majority of the community are going to be using this custom search, right? The majority of people are going to be just jumping in and playing whatever's put in front of them, right? It's why I'm loading into so many Blackwell Field games at the moment whenever I load into a Conquest lobby, because that is the map that everyone is playing, because it's the map that DICE are pushing through their featured playlist. And most people don't want to go through the custom search function. They just want to load in, play some Battlefield, and then log straight off. But besides all of that, and now we get to the part that I am genuinely angry about at the moment and why I need to really vent this off my chest. Why the fuck is some offshoot casual version of a core game mode of Battlefield sitting in front of the core mode? Why the hell is a PvPvE version of a mode taking precedence over the PvP version? And further to that, why does a casual version of a game mode that we already have completely kick another game mode's playlist out of the list entirely, which means you're far less likely to get to experience that mode in the first place? Like, I'm sorry guys here, right? Battlefield is a game that is defined by its player-to-player interactions in the game's sandbox, okay? It's defined by those only in Battlefield moments that come from players doing dumb shit against one another and someone eventually coming out on top. It's also defined by players going on absolute rampages that can't occur in any other game due to the chaos. That is part of the Battlefield magic. You cannot replicate that in a botted environment. It strips the magic away from the experience, and the fact that it is being prioritized in the game's menus is diabolical in nature. I know that there is a part of the community that prefers a more casual experience. I know there's a lot of people who enjoyed the solo and co-op versions of the game that were available in 2042. Guys, Battlefield PvP should be taking precedent above all of that. I'm sorry, that's just the way it should be. It's how Battlefield has always been, and it's how Battlefield has best been played. And the fact that a quite frankly dumbed down version of that mode is now taking precedent accordingly, I just have no words for it. And that is all to prove a point of some of the byproducts that this is having on the community right now, okay? As you guys know, I'm based in the OCE region. I'm Australian, which therefore means that I play in a relatively smaller population space, yeah? Gaming in Australia is very volatile in the sense that if you have a game that comes out, it does well for a little while. The moment you start to see a dip in the player counts, that is felt at a far more accented rate than what you see in other regions, which always takes a massive toll on the variety of experiences that we can get in certain games. And in Battlefield, that is most certainly being felt right now. For context, guys, the game mode you're seeing in the background is Escalation Iberian Offensive, one of the map and mode combos that has quickly been regarded as one of the better new experiences you can get in Battlefield 6, yeah? This gameplay was taken at 2 PM on a Sunday afternoon on the weekend. And we never, ever found ourselves getting rid of the bots in this lobby. It was a map that went to the 3-2 scoreline in Escalation. It was going as long as it possibly could. We never filled the lobby. And I guarantee you that part of the byproduct of that right there is the fact that the matchmaking experience for certain game modes, like Escalation, is so cumbersome right now that it actively drives people away from enjoying those types of experiences. Gaming in general at the moment is doing its absolute best to become an ecosystem, you know? It's aimed at giving players requires the power to create what they want within the foundation of a game that the developers lay out. This was a heavily popularized formula by Fortnite, which is more of an example of an ecosystem than a game. It's a game that now has battle royale, survival elements, there's a Lego version in there, there's first person, like the fact that Fortnite is basically a game that can do anything nowadays is something that a lot of players in the industry at the moment are trying to recreate within their own game. And Battlefield is also now attempting it with the Portal mode as well. And while I appreciate the ceiling that Battlefield can reach in a utopian landscape where it holds the player base to support this kind of approach, it quite frankly doesn't. And the fact that we are now so bloated by game modes already in week 3 to 4 of this game being out, that the core game modes of Battlefield 6 are now being impacted with server availability and matches not filling up is just, it's getting ridiculous. And for me, Casual Breakthrough and its placement in the menus was the straw that broke the camel's back. If you're that hell-bent on leaving it in the game, put it at the tail end of the menus. Make sure, always make sure that Conquest, Escalation, Breakthrough, and Rush continue to be at the forefront of the game's menus. They are the pillars of the Battlefield multiplayer experience. They should always receive the priority in being in the menu so people can just queue up to them whenever they want to do so. Custom search should be there for those who want to create a myriad of experiences and maps that they load into at their own leisure. I know that DICE have really sort of been creating these, smorgasbords of, playlists that, have Rush and Breakthrough and Conquest and Escalation together. They don't need to clog up the matchmaker experience with those anymore because that's what custom search does now. Players who use custom search can use it to create the kinds of matchmaking experiences they want, and they will just matchmake into the core matchmakers as they see fit to do so, right? To fill those lobbies. But yeah, ultimately this Casual Breakthrough fiasco now, I think, is the straw that breaks the camel's back in a few places, but it also serves as an extremely valuable lesson. Not just about the game mode and where Battlefield should really be focusing its efforts, but also in how they funnel their players to those game modes using the menu system. I know the main menu has also received a ton of feedback for looking too much like a goddamn streaming service platform, and to that I would agree as well. But regardless of that, the way it's prioritizing certain modes, certain experiences is not it. And I think DICE need to get that fixed as soon as possible, because right now, the good sides of Battlefield 6 and what they should be leaning into aren't actually getting prioritization, and that's just going to shoot them in the foot for the long run here. And I make this video now, not just as a point of feedback for the moment we're in right now as a community, but also as a reflection point for the future and how we can avoid doing this again in the long run. Anyway, guys, I told you today was going to get quite passionate. I told you it was going to be a bit of a loud one. I hope you guys enjoyed it regardless. It's a shame that this is what we're talking about 4 weeks into Battlefield 6's launch, because other than that, I still think the game is really solid despite its bugbears and its issues at the moment. I want to love it, and I still am loving it. This has just been a massive, massive issue that is really starting to affect the lower population regions in quite a significant way. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, guys. Backhand that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Always keen to welcome more of you to the community. And leave a comment down below with your thoughts. What are your thoughts on Casual Breakthrough? What are your thoughts on the current prioritization of game modes? Keen to hear them, guys. Let me know. But until next time, guys, peace out, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Take care.